You know, we all know someone who's been affected by cancer. Many have survived the disease, while sadly others have not. In this next story, BCN video journalist Heidi Echavarria chatted with a woman who was fortunate enough to survive breast cancer. This is her story.
Oh my gosh, this has to be cancer. You have that in the back of your head, you're thinking this can't be.
That was what Sandra Fuentes thought when she felt a lump in her left breast. At that time, she was pregnant and in her early 30s. Her suspicions and those of her doctors did not go to the next level.
But it wasn't until after I had my baby that we decided to dive into what this possibly could be. And because of my age, I was only 32 at the time, the doctors didn't seem to be too concerned that this could be cancer, so we didn't move too quickly. But when I actually got a doctor to look at it, it was quite quickly apparent that this was something that we had to deal with quickly.
By April 17, 2007, Fuentes already had the results that her suspicions were true. Surrender or fight. These were the options that Fuentes had when she found out that cancer touched her life. But knowing that people close to her fought and won the battle encouraged her to believe that she could do it too. And even though breast cancer took the life of her mother, her consolation was that her aunt, who also had the same type of cancer, survived the disease. According to the Canadian Cancer Society, 5,500 Canadian women will die from breast cancer. That represents 13% of all cancer deaths in women in 2024. On average, 84 Canadian women will be diagnosed with breast cancer every day. And on average, 15 Canadian women will die from the disease every day.
I was terrified, absolutely scared, but I had no choice but to fight. I had to do everything I could to make this go away. Obviously, because I had children at home and it wasn't just me I had to think about. I had to think about, the rest of my family.
Although her surgery was a not so easy process, Fuentes says that this was not the hardest part of her journey.
So I had a mastectomy to begin with. At the very beginning was my mastectomy. I had a bilateral mastectomy, which means they removed both breasts. And then I had the chemotherapy for 6 months, and then I had radiation for the 5.5 weeks or so. The hardest time was when I had to go to Calgary for radiation. And that was because I didn't have my family with me. I wasn't there every day to see my kids come home from school, get off the bus, make them dinner, give them hugs, read them stories. There was no time for me to help with homework. It was those little things that's what the hardest part was.
Going through moments of loss, such as her breast and hair, was not the only thing, because some friends also joined that list.
Losing your hair is a very tricky thing to get used to. I came from the beauty industry. My life was all about hair, and to lose a part of yourself that's become your identity really was a hard thing, but I just embraced being bald. I actually got to the point where I kind of enjoyed it. It was freeing, and I didn't have to worry about doing my hair every day. I cried a lot. It's hard because you think that somebody's going to be your support system and somebody has your back, but then for somebody to say unkind things to you while you're going through one of the hardest things of your life says more about them than it did about me. And so I did lose friends going through my cancer diagnosis because, in their eyes, I was making things all about myself, but I had to be all about myself at that time because it was everything I could do to survive.
In 2010, she got a special surgery that rebuilt her breast.
We had a really unique surgery. It's called a tram flap, and that's where they take your stomach and they reform it to make breasts. So I don't have implants. They've used all of my own tissue. They had to go in a different way. It was actually a little bit harder to get blood flow and stuff. So they had to cut a portion of my rib to get blood flow.
Although the radiation treatment left side effects, in 2013 Fuente received a clean bill of health. She also discovered the strong woman in her.
So I do have a little bit of lung damage from the radiation, which does leave me a little bit breathless, and doing exercise can sometimes be a little bit harder for my lungs, and I don't recover from sicknesses as well, but it's not anything I can't handle. I discovered I'm stronger than I thought I was. That's the biggest thing. just, I did it and I came out of it and I came out of it stronger. I'm not as scared of things as I used to be.
Today, 17 years later, she is not only a cancer survivor, but she is also an active mother with 3 children and a store manager who transmits strength to those who today fight against this disease. For Bridge City News, I'm Heidi Echavarria.